It's like
the
very...
sentence "bang bangster berry" is now like my activation phrase.
it's very tart for some reason, and that's like the only flavor I can get out of it right now.
Huh. All right.
It's really weird.
Oh boy. Hello, internet. How's it going?
Yeah.
It's going for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to talk about the fucking Man City Liverpool match that happened on Saturday morning too. We drew 1-1 at the Etihad, which is their stadium. I will fucking take it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hello there, Pharaoh. Okay. Are you guys ready to get this started?
No. Yes, maybe. No.
Oh, I'm going to talk about the updates to the feed here at the beginning, because I want to mention that people should probably change their podcatcher to keep 3 episodes instead of 2. So
yes,
mention it here at the top. Okay. Are you guys ready? Just double check here.
No. Yes. Sure. Whatever.
I'll take it.
I'm good. Yeah.
All right, starting
the
in.
longer we go, I feel
Hold
like
on.
we need a nap. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No. Nip, get that fucking shit out the chat. Delete that fucking message right now.
No.
It is not time for that shit yet. We still
It
got
is after
4
Thanksgiving.
days. I don't
Which
fucking
is the
care.
appropriate time for Christmas shit
fight,
to start.
Fight.
Not
I
before
got-
Thanksgiving, not around fucking Halloween. It's after Thanksgiving.
If you'd
I'll
like
tell you
more
what
of
the correct
this,
time is. The correct time is fucking December 1st, you fucking asshole.
You know what? I don't care.
if you'd like more content like this where we fight, it's the Outcast TV.
Yeah.
No.
Here you go, you piece of shit.
Uh-oh. Oh
Bam!
no! There's so many of them! What is this,
And
Christmas
everyone's
tree
gonna be like,
farm up in
Do
chat?
Nimp and Moon really hate each other?
Oh, God. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, a.k.a. TVGP. I'm your host, Boston Jeremy, as always, is Moonpier.
Hi.
And the Nip.
Hello.
Quick piece of purpose. I'm a professional speaker. Quick piece of production news here at the beginning. Thanks to a bunch of people that wrote in last week after the episode about the Dynamic Soundtrack Best Music of 2023 episode that will be coming up. It's already out now for patrons. We'll talk about the patron page here in a minute. But it'll be going live on the public feed at the end of December over at dynamicsoundtrack.com. But there are a large number of our listeners that can only get the TVGP feed, and they kindly wrote in to remind me of that fact, and the fact that they can't get Dynamic Soundtrack on that feed. So, as a result of that, going forward, Dynamic Soundtrack and Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love are going to be part of this feed as well. So it's going to kind of encompass everything TVGP and E1M1 all in the same feed. So RPG Love, Dynamic Soundtrack, all of that going forward. My recommendation would be to change your podcatcher to maybe keep 3 episodes at a time, because there's going to be some weeks, Dynamic Soundtrack, if I ever get around to season 3, we'll release once a month. Pup releases once a month. So there will be some weeks where you're going to have a bunch of episodes coming out in one week. So you might want to scooch that up a little bit to try and get all that content every week. So just a quick piece there going forward. Enjoy all of these extra episodes. I hope you guys enjoy all of them. If you'd like to get early access or exclusive stuff, you can get over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
You can get we had, it's a short but sweet banger of an episode for the Outcast this week. We talked about video games for the first time in a while, including Blu-ray players, professional wrestling, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a really good one. That's exclusive at the $2 tier or higher. Over on the $5 tier, we've got the exclusive Moon and Nimp have been going through and doing The Wayward Sons, which is their Supernatural TV show watchcast. They are season 1 is in the can. It has been scheduled. It will be coming to you.
The timing really couldn't have been better. Like, I don't think we could have timed that any better if we tried.
Yeah, with our upcoming vacation happening in about a month here, the scheduling sort of accidentally worked out really well. So that will be wrapping up here over the next couple of weeks. That is a patron exclusive at the $5 tier or higher. And you also get early access to We Roguelike It, the show where Moon and I are just attempting to play as many roguelikes as we possibly can. You get Critical Misses, where Moon and I are catching up on all the media hits we missed. And I think that's largely it. Outcast is really good. You should go listen to that. And all that stuff helps pay for the hosting for the show and all that. Over at patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones equals numbers.
All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Oh, social engagements.
Right.
Check out the Outcasts for that news. Because Boston is terrific. I did play a whole bunch of Cocoon, which you will have the Game Club episode in your feed
every time.
really shortly. Probably already if you're listening to this in the podcast.
Hey, thank you very much, Moon, for reminding me. Out right now, the TVGP Game Club episode for 2023's Cocoon is out. You can go listen to that alongside this. Thank you very much. Also, a reminder, we play 11 games a year, which we do a recap.
No, Boston has a problem, so we satiate Boston's problem.
Oh, yes, my innate need for ranking things. So we do a Game Club of the Year episode at the end of the year. That will be scheduled there for December as well when we are out on our vacation. We'll talk more about the details. If you're a new listener, we take 2 weeks off at the end of the year. We'll talk more about that as kind of time goes on.
Yep.
Do not worry. I'm worried. Don't you worry, though.
There's a lot of stuff for us to do, nothing for you guys to do.
Yes.
That's right.
We do a lot, and then we do nothing. That's right. Thing
you see, the top of my notes this week is just a disaster of planning things.
Arrows and lines and swigglies.
Yep.
And...
It's the Always Sunny meme, except starring Boston.
Exactly. Yep.
Specifically dressed as his warlock from Destiny.
Sure.
Doing the exact same meme.
That would be really good. Yeah.
I have that meme in my Destiny emotes.
There you go.
Because I have a problem. Anyway, I played a little bit of Forza Horizon 5. Literally the only show. I loaded it up because I was like, oh no, I missed 2 dailies from last week's season.
Yeah.
Yes. A series of seasons.
Yes. But you still have 7 days to do them, so I loaded it up, just did them, and then turned it off again in like a 30-minute time space I had. So now I've got until this Thursday to knock out the rest of them, which should be fine. It's not like I have a bunch of stuff planned.
No, it'll be fine. You got nothing but time.
This week.
Yeah.
I'm going high pitch. That's how you can tell it's not fine. I'm not fine. Right. It's not, and nothing is fine.
That's right. We're all not fine here. How are you?
Yes. And it is okay to not be okay, to steal that phrase.
That's right.
I still love Forza Horizon 5. It's still a great game. I now get to... Something I've been meaning to bring up when talking about this over the past couple of weeks, and then forgotten to. Hey, Boston, did you know they have a Forge mode inside the game now?
Yeah, I remember seeing something about that, and I have been a little scared to fire it up because I feel like...
You should be.
There's going to be something in there where it's like, oh, someone made a racing roguelike, and it's secretly the best thing in this free game I already own. Whoops, there goes all my time.
So they have made like cities and racetracks through cities.
Oh, no.
And all of this other kind of stuff. And it's like, guys, how? When?
Yeah, how did you do this? Number one.
I don't understand.
Also, how dare you?
yeah. Needless to say, there is too much content inside of this game.
Right.
Which is something. Did I talk about it last week? I think so. Maybe.
About
I don't
building a
know if I
city?
talked about it on the show or off the show. How basically, if you only play 3 games, this can be one of them for the entire year.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
set. But like
So
the fact that it
someone
has
built
this
like a legit city track in here, like different from the little town that's in there.
huge skyscrapers, you're racing between
Oh,
skyscrapers up onto like expressways, then off the expressways
That's
onto
wild.
like little narrow alleys, and then racing through these alleys. It is.
I just
stupid.
assumed you could just create races based off of the road system that was already in the game. I didn't
Yeah,
know you
like
could
the
create
pieces
a whole
that-
map. Yeah.
Right.
So that's what it was originally, is you can pick and create your custom races based on what's there. But yeah, they have basically it's called like the labs zone or something like that. And
Yeah.
when you spawn into it, it's just a flat like Minecraft flat world, except it's all like grey asphalt.
Hmm.
And then you can go into blueprints from there and pick all of the blueprints that people have been making. And there's like, oh, City Dash Extraordinaire and like Need for Speed Heat and all this other stuff that people have made. And it's just
Wow.
like, I don't understand how you people have the time for this.
Right.
Says the dude who once put like 60 hours into making Forza Horizon logos for all of the podcasts he listens to.
Yeah.
I remember that. Most
Yeah.
people probably don't. I don't know. It is stupid. It is fun. I still absolutely adore it for whatever reason. And I'm enjoying just going through and like we said last time, like hitting these challenges. Just like, yeah, cool. Now I'm going to do an off-road race. Now I'm going to do the Eliminator.
Mhm.
All I have to do is come higher than 30th in the Eliminator, which is fine. I came 3rd the other day in the Eliminator. I was
Oh,
so
man.
annoyed because I need a win to get that one achievement. It will be the one that I don't get from my baseline 50, and that's
Right.
fine. Whatever. It is what it is. I'll get everything else because I'm a freak with a problem. Tell me a phrase that describes me better. I'll tell you one doesn't exist.
I think they wrote
It's
a song
just the way it
about
is.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
right.
true. Other than that, I'm still chugging away through my nightmare difficulty run on Alan Wake Remastered. I didn't get a whole lot of time to play, but I forgot there's only 6 episodes, so I'm already at like the halfway point of episode 5 on nightmare difficulty.
Okay.
So I will probably smash that smash that probably this week. I'm hoping get that done and wrapped up, so I could then play the DLC and then play the
And
sequel.
Control.
Control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
know you
the
want it,
sequel.
man.
The sequel, Control. Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I really want to go back and play Quantum Break 2. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
wrap
just
it
Knock
in
that
there.
out real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
Get your
way
Quantum Break
better
and go
than
into
people
Control.
think it is.
It's got a credible Lance Reddick performance in there too.
Uh-huh.
Is Quantum Break the one that everyone crapped on because of the movie,
Yes.
in-game
The
movie
TV
stuff?
show
Okay, yeah,
that was
all right.
included in it.
I
Yes, that's
never
that
I never thought the in-game live action stuff was bad. I just thought some
one. No,
of
it's
the
great.
some of the gameplay stuff was fine. Like it
I was
wasn't.
gonna say that's what I remember was everyone talking about the gameplay not being great
Yeah, it's okay.
and the TV stuff being fine. I
Yeah.
just never got around to it and then forgot about it.
TV
This is my
stuff is
thing.
is wonderfully cheesy in a way that
Yes.
fits for
Remedy
Remedy's
does,
style.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
in a Stargate SG-1 kind of way. Which
Oh,
I'm
don't
100%
invoke
down
that
for
game.
It is
Don't you dare
literally
that.
exactly the same in style. It is so cheesy and so B-movie. It's great.
Yeah, but it
Um,
it kind of leans into it in a way that's really fun. Like it knows the story it's telling is cheesy, and Lance Reddick chews that scenery the entire game, and it's
So
great.
does Iceman. Like
Yeah,
the
that's
guy
true.
who played Iceman. He is fantastic in it too.
Yeah.
And Littlefinger from Game of Thrones is fantastic in it as well.
Mm.
Like they
It's
got
got a
some
lot of people in it.
legitimate, yeah, some legit stars in there.
Yeah.
And the game looks gorgeous. The ironic thing about Quantum Break is people complained because of the size, because of the TV shows when you downloaded them, when they gave you the option to do so. It was like, oh, now the game is 125 gig, and it's like, dude, have you seen my Xbox now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Back in
4
that
of my
time, though.
games.
Yeah. And I think
Ugh.
Quantum Break is on Game Pass right now, isn't it?
Yep, it's a Microsoft product,
Yeah,
so it's always on Game Pass.
It was on Game. If I remember correctly, it was off Game Pass for a little bit because of some issue,
Like
and
2
then
days.
it came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 days because of a licensing thing, and it's back again. You should totally play it, I'm just saying.
I'm thinking about it.
You should. It's
Like
short.
I said, I never played it because I thought it was crap. I just never got around to it and just heard everyone complaining about it. So.
Yeah.
I like it. And
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a time travel story too, so you know it's gold.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alan Wake. Yes, I'm up to halfway through the Truth episode. I'm pretty sure the final episode is pretty short, so I should be wrapped up with that soon. Then do the DLC, whatever. That's fine. Why didn't Imp invoke Payday 3 last week? I don't need to play this game anymore.
Because everybody enjoys it.
Yeah.
A little too much. Even people who weren't playing it were enjoying listening to us play it.
Yes. So go ahead, Imp, since you can take us away on this one.
All right. So yes, we did play Payday 3 Tuesday night. It started out with Angela and myself and Faeror. And then I noticed that Moon's account was online, but figured it wasn't Moon just yet, so I sent him a message saying, hey, if you want to, we're playing. And then I get a message back saying, yeah, I'm on my way home. So he did eventually jump on, and then Angel I did get off, and then Brain Eater jumped on. And because I had Wednesday off, we stayed up way too late playing Payday 3.
Oh, nice.
While everybody else suffered who had to go to work the next morning. But all the shenanigans that I've been talking about, we pretty much had again. We had Brain Eater and Moon who were pretty much just lifting us on their back and bringing us through a level. Because the rest of us were just... Although I have to say, first game, who was the one that set off the alarm?
The first game, it wasn't me. It was I did it on like the third game. Don't even start with that.
Not even the third game. Don't even give me that crap. But either way.
I will openly admit I pressed the wrong button and put my mask on before the level had even started. That is fine. I did not do it in the first game. In the first game, I was the hero running around and revving all you people when you all got downed.
Absolutely. However, I did say when we started playing, when we're like, we are no good at stealth. We are only good at mask on. So if you guys want to do stealth, we'll stand outside and wait for you guys. Which didn't take very long the first time, because I think I was standing on the street corner just... I was just watching what the game does when we're not inside doing things. Just to see how the NPCs and the vehicles and stuff interact with each other. And yeah, I think I was there for like 30 seconds and the alarm started going off. I'm like, well, I guess it's time for me to show up and start doing things. So.
I'm pretty sure that round that was Pharaoh, because I think they were mask on in the back and then they accidentally threw a grenade. And that set everybody
I think that's what it
off.
was. Because I think I think Brain Eater did it on one of them because he forgot that he didn't have a silenced pistol anymore. Like he swapped out his load and forgot and went to shoot a camera.
Sure. Yeah.
Either way, for us, it doesn't matter. We're not going into this being professionals.
You're not MLG Payday
yeah, exactly.
players.
It's just like any other stealth game. You get noticed, everything dies, and then we just continue on with the mission. Whatever. So we did. I think we did all the maps.
While I was there, we only did like 3 or 4, I think.
Which were the last... Well, for our group, the last 3 maps, I think, were the only ones we hadn't done yet.
Oh, yeah, because you hadn't done the giant bank robbery yet.
Yeah, we hadn't done that one, and we hadn't done the warehouse before, which I'm still not 100% sure what was going on with that. Because you're supposed to be getting, like, these AI chips. And... what's explained to me is that as soon as we pull these chips out of these ISO containers, they need to go into cold storage.
Yeah, Mr. Actually over here is just
no, it wasn't.
Excuse me.
It wasn't actual. I was just asking a legitimate question of, are these actively running? Then why do I have a countdown timer for these heating up? They're chips. We pulled a chip out of a machine. There's no power. It's not running. Why are we getting yelled at for being hot?
We were talking about Metal Gear Solid earlier. Yeah. Probably Metal Gear Solid rules of it's just cool. Why do they need to cool
As
down? Because it's neat.
I'm actually over here asking a whole bunch of questions.
That's right.
That's it. And boy, did I got an earful from everyone.
Yes,
just asking legitimate questions like why does this matter? And it wasn't detracting from the gamer. And like it's not like the cooldown was so short that we're not going to make it because they weren't that far from where we had to go. But it was just a legitimate question.
I was just asking questions, bro.
Also, I had been drinking a lot by that point. We had all been drinking a lot by that point. So, but yeah. It was a lot of fun. We learned a lot of things about the game. We all hate snipers. We all hate what we're now calling ninjas, which are the cloaked guys.
Right.
Juggernauts, or what are they? They call them dozers or something like that still, but basically juggernauts. So those suck because we were on a rooftop of one level and we were all dumping so much ammunition into this one guy that none of us had ammo anymore.
Oh, jeez.
So we were running around trying to get this while this guy is running around with a shotgun or something, putting us all down.
It's the full auto shotgun with the circular magazine. It's that gun.
Oh, jeez.
They don't play around after a certain point, so
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of everyone yelling when there's like one person alive, saying you just need to hold out for like 10 more seconds and then I'm back in.
Yep. It was the Nightclub Kerfuffle, which is just like, let's set the alarm off like 2 minutes in and let's just go bust down the VIP door, I guess.
That's the best part, is when you guys started yelling out, get into the VIP room, and I'm like, I don't know where that is. There aren't any signs in this game that say VIP room this way or anything like that.
Sure. I'm not gonna find a screenshot and send it to Boston of the giant neon lights above the door saying VIP room.
I don't need any proof.
Exactly. When I asked you guys, you're like, it's in the VIP room. I'm like, where is the VIP room? You're like, it's over there. I'm like, over what? These are literally the instructions I'm getting. It's over there. Over where?
I've been drinking a lot.
This wall is acting weird.
That's right.
But yes, it is a lot of fun. Did you guys, I didn't ask Brain Eater, but did you play Payday 2 at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was interested in Payday 2, but by the time I was interested in it, it already had like $600,000 worth of DLC that I was just like,
Gotcha.
Yeah, you missed the train on that because that game went wild pretty quickly.
Well, that was all I was going to ask was how it just compared, because I didn't play 2 either, so I don't know how they compare to each other. I know there are a lot of people who don't like the third one, but only having played the third game, there's no issues. It controls fine, plays great. So I mean, I don't know if it's because people's purchases don't transfer or anything like that, or you know what?
Yeah, it's probably a mixture of purchases don't transfer over, and you have to start the progress all over again.
Right.
Which is just like, sure, but that's kind of the point of video games is,
progression.
It would feel weird, I would get, if you came in with like a level 100, and I don't even know what the max is, like 150, 200 level character, and you've already got everything. It's like, well, then why are you playing this game?
Right.
Kind of, at the start anyway. Because I mean, like, Destiny kind of did it, where it's like, yeah, you could bring your character over, and you can bring your weapons and stuff over, but you weren't OP or anything. And I think people would start complaining about that, where it's like, well, why isn't my 12 gauge doing, blah, blah, blah. But whatever. But it's still fun. We had a lot of fun. There was a lot of goofing, a lot of smack talking on the chat, so, just kept things interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
it was very interesting indeed.
Moon is showing a screenshot of Payday 3 on his phone, if you're not watching the video version, and there's a bright pink neon sign above the guard there in front of the door, and it says VIP Club.
Okay, but isn't that the door that has the stairs leading down to the basement in it?
Yes. That's
so that
VIP
whole
rooms.
entire thing is the VIP room.
Yes.
So when you guys tell me that an item is in the VIP room, it is literally a whole other building. It's like when we're in a bank.
You were upstairs.
It's like when we're in a bank, and I'm like, "Hey, where is the USB for this?" And you guys would just keep yelling, "It's in the bank." We're all in the bank, a-hole. Where in the bank?
The bank is large.
Anyway,
as you can tell, there's also some low-key aggression going on with that game as well.
Yeah.
It's still a fun time.
Yeah. It is genuinely fun. I got home late on Friday and had like maybe 45 minutes. So like everyone was offline except for Rob. So I jumped in and played with Rob for like 45 minutes on Friday too. Because I have a problem, I also played it on hard with Rob. So
oh no.
Okay.
We've been playing it on normal. So I was like, let's just do the first level again. Let's do it on hard and let's see how it goes. And that's nothing against you guys. It's just I just wanted to see how it went.
No, that's fine.
And it turned into this really interesting like thing where, because I wasn't sure how the AI are going to act. So Rob would go mask on and protect himself from airborne viruses, but then also he would go and do a whole bunch of stealth stuff in the back of the level, while I was dressed normally as a civilian in the front, being like the eyeballer of like the situation and seeing how things are going down, seeing what stuff is keeping track of, if there's a guard, if I can see the guards, what they're doing. We did really well in that. It was the bank level. We did really well in it up to a point, and then after that, things went south, and we just finished it. And we did it again on the jewelry store, which is the second level. We did it on the hardest difficulty there. Rob basically cleared out the entire behind. When you go into the jewelry store, and it's section. Like it's the square room.
Yeah.
That entire square room was unaware that he was in the back and he had literally murdered everybody.
Wow. Jeez.
And he had made his way around that entire back area. We were getting really solid, like getting to the point where he's about to start breaking into like the VIP section there, like the with the really rich stuff. Or whatever. And then the alarms went off. And then, of course, while we're trying to get the manager to the eye thing so you can shove him into the retinal scanner thing, the cops came in and shot the manager.
Oh no.
That was the other thing. You guys tried so hard when we were playing to get that retinal scan to work on that manager, and it just would not. Like to the point that people would pick up the manager, walk up to it, nothing would happen, you would just shove them into the wall, and then like another person would try it. Like I think it tried like 4 or 5 times to get that manager to go.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I think with more people and not, because the problem is I didn't trust the AI. If Rob is masked up and then I mask up, I don't know if the AI is going to assume that we're now going loud, so they mask up and everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
Right.
Or if they're going to maintain like stealth because we technically haven't been spotted yet.
Yeah.
But it's all about like the amount of different context sensitive commands that this game has is so like up on the D-pad is to spot something, so you can spot cameras, security guards, civilians, whatever. The second things go loud, or if someone is looking at you and you have your mask on, you can shout them down, which means you point at them, you tell them to get on the floor and not move a muscle. If you do that and it's not loud, then people in that vicinity will go down. But then if it is loud, you can get a much bigger area of people. So like, it's really interesting trying to figure out the evolution of this thing as we go. Because I ended up using a loadout where I was hacking the cameras. So I was looking through the perspective of every camera in the level.
Yeah.
And then I can see Rob's outline through a wall. So like I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, he's in that room. This camera's looking at that door. So I would take control of the camera, look up at the ceiling, and then he could come into the room, go and do his business, leave the room, and then I could move to a different camera so he didn't have to destroy it. And then he didn't have to get any suspicion against him.
That's cool.
But the camera wasn't spotting him. I was like, okay, so technically, if we did this correctly, quote unquote correctly, we could have people with a wide variety of loadouts and probably slowly ramp up the difficulty and then start getting, full stealth, because there is like quests in the game to complete levels in full stealth mode, which means never setting the alarm off. So if we could do that, that would be great.
Which right now feels very unattainable at this point.
It's a while away, yes.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the levels enough.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we're still trying to figure out, okay, we're in this level. How do we start this? Like, how do we even start to be stealthy? Because it doesn't... Like, you can't go in the back alley of, like, the jewelry store. You can't go in the back alley because there's already guards posted there and a camera. So if you get too close to a guard at the gate, he's already starting to get suspicious, so then you have to back off. You can pay attention for the one guard who goes back and forth for a smoke in the back alley, but there's also the camera that you have to contend with back there. Yeah. So... It's just trying to find, and there's also that one window. There's a window right on the outside, window? Yeah, that you can just slice it open, but you need your mask on to get in there, and it brings you into like a break room where all the cops are, all the security guards are hanging out. So it's kind of a moot point right then to try to jump in there when all the guards are sitting right there. So it's just trying to figure it out.
So when he got to that room, that was the room the manager was in with us, or when I was standing outside, and I was spotting the security guards through the window for him. So he came in and popped a couple of them, then turned around and shouted the manager down. So no alarms got raised because he just came in and dealt with it immediately. I was like, okay, it is doable. We are learning how to do this. We can definitely potentially do this in the future. We just need practice and experience points and loadouts and everything else that's going on. And I found a gun that's 20 million credits, and it's like, what are you asking me to do, please? Like,
oh my!
When you bumped it up to a higher difficulty, does that just change what the cops? Well, okay, but does it just change like how much the cops and stuff can take, or do you get additional objectives as well?
So I think it changes a couple of little bits and pieces in regards to the AI and the level. Cops started to steal the money bags that I threw in the corridor. I was like, oi, stop stealing my money bags, you little punks. It also increases like the responsive time of everything. So like the Halo thing, just everything is just slightly harder. Okay. And I think when you go to very hard, there is at least one camera on site that cannot be destroyed. So you can shoot out most cameras. That one cannot be. So I think that is when having a tech head on the team who can hack them and control them and be wary of that. That's when that becomes super, super helpful.
Interesting.
But I mean that portion of the getting to that point where you're trying to do that sounds fun too. It's just like you said, we're still trying to figure out how doors work sometimes. So.
Yeah. I think one of the things we definitely need to potentially work on is we need to have one person who is hostage management, because one of the things that helped when me and Rob were doing it was I didn't have the right loadout on, so I didn't have the one where you get bonus hostages for trading a hostage in. One counts as two and so on and so forth. But like on that jewelry store level, I think if you have one person at the front ready so that when things go loud, they can immediately shout everybody to the ground. That stops them from running around. It gives you extra hostages to keep an eye on. It lets you trade them in for more time before the assault starts. It gives you a lot
and stuff like that too, yeah.
Exactly. It gives you a lot more options and time to do what you need to do to get out the door before everything goes south. Or less time things being south when, by the time you're ready to leave.
Yeah.
But I think if we can figure out that way and figure out who enjoys doing what kind of thing, then, because I was acting as the lookout, but I didn't have the hostage like loadout on, so it wasn't as effective as it could have been. But like I got Rob like maybe another 3 minutes of no cop activity before anything went down, kind of thing. And also, when things go loud, most of us are normally in the back. You need that one person in the front so that when things go loud, you get the maximum number of people and they don't run away, essentially.
Yeah, like we can trade them in.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we were even still figuring out, I don't even know what the game calls them, but you can change certain things in the level before you even go into it. Like,
Fables.
Yeah, because I think it was Brain Eater that activated changing where the helicopter comes for the money drop-off. So instead of it being across the street and in the pier, it was just right next to the building.
Yep, you call in favors, and then people in the level or people who you're working with will do different things for you. So that was a good one. Another great one is the bank at the start of the first level. There's a favor that stops the truck from leaving. So the way it currently is set up, the truck shows up. When it gets too hot, they leave, and then you have to call them back.
That leaves.
Yes.
Yeah, we're learning new stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it is a genuinely fun game. I am enjoying playing it, and it's got that, yeah, I know this level or I'm learning this level kind of vibe to it right now, which I'm absolutely fine with.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass too, right?
Yep.
Yes, and it is on Game Pass, so we are essentially all playing it for free.
And you still can get, cool. even if you go loud, like there's no screwing up in the game. We still get tons of money one way or the other. We would probably get more being stealthy, because I know that there's rooms that we haven't been able to get into, like that VIP room in the bank, the manager one. There's things that we still haven't figured. Like we find an A key. We're like, okay, where's the door that takes the A key?
Yeah.
Nobody, we haven't found it, but we found this door over here that has a B key. Yeah, or, different things like that. It's like, okay, where is this thing at then? So
interesting.
It's just a lot of trial and error, and it's been a lot of fun. I hate snipers, I hate dozers, and the ninjas. Those suck. All of them, especially when all three of them are in play.
But yeah, other than that, that's all I've been playing. Then go on to your next one.
All right, my next game that I've been playing is Legend of Heroes: Trails into Reverie. The game, once you get into Act 1, the game starts out with Crossbell's finally getting its independence, and I know this is going to be gibberish for a lot of people. Everything that goes wrong in the Trails of Hero games is because of someone trying to take over Crossbells. And all Crossbells wants is their independence. Like, they just want to be an independent state. That is all they want. And every time it's about to happen, something else happens. Just like in this game, where in Act 1, they're getting ready to sign their Declaration of Independence, but then somebody shows up and ruins it. And I just have a note here that says, for God's sakes, stop screwing with Crossbells. That is how everything goes wrong in all of these games.
Just leave them alone, man.
Yeah, so the game right now, they've got it set where there's 3 stories going on at once. Right now I've only got 2 of them, between Lloyd, who is in Crossbells, and then Reen, who is off somewhere else. I just started his. But you can either stick to one story until you get to a point where it tells you, hey, this is the furthest this story is going to progress, you need to switch over. Like I did, and then now I'm starting Reen's story in this. So there's 3 overarching stories happening at the same time that you can switch at any point in time. There's a hotkey that you can just hit, and you can just, at any point in time, and you can just choose to switch over to somebody else's story if you want.
Oh, nice.
So, like I said, I haven't done the 3rd one yet. I just know it's there. But I just finished everything for Lloyd up to this point in Act 1. I am now starting things with Reen, trying to figure out what's happening here. Now that you have the video up, there's a lot of things happening on the screen, and to me it looks normal, but one of my kids watched me playing this, and they couldn't understand what was happening because there's so many icons and buttons and lines
turn
and
order
things happening. Which brings me back to, if you are going to start this, definitely start with Cold Steel, because they have slowly integrated all of these systems in as the series has progressed. So to me, I know what all of that means, and it doesn't seem congested at all. To anyone looking at that screen, it's just a hot mess.
Yeah, it's a lot of bars and character pictures and skill points.
Before you even start a battle on the field, you have the attack the enemy on the field, but there's 2 versions of it. There's a charged version and a regular version. If you do the charged version, you automatically break them, so you do more damage, which allows you to do better strikes. Within the strike option, there is just a attack them again, a dual strike where it's you and your linked partner fighting, or you basically do an all-out attack is another option.
Jeez.
Like I said, there's systems within systems within systems on this game, so don't even try to start with this one. But right now, yeah, I've completed everything with that. Reen is starting up. I'm hoping that I should get the 3rd character, or the 3rd timeline soon. I'm assuming once I get past Act 1, I should get that. But that's it. I haven't gotten too far into it. It was just something I was trying to get back into to check out, and I'm still enjoying it. The next game that I have right now that I beat, that I am now calling Live Evil, is live a live. Because if you look at it, it spells evil. I did go back and complete the final chapter for that, and that final chapter does take a very, very long time.
Oh, okay.
When you pick the final chapter, any of the past characters that you've played as, you can choose one of them to be your main character. So then you start the final chapter with that character. The final chapter takes place in the medieval area, and within that whole area, all the other characters are just randomly dispersed in that world.
Oh, interesting.
You can only have 4 of them with you at a time for 4 in a party. If you pick up anyone else after 4, it sends, I don't know how the order, but you always keep your main. The main never leaves the party. But I'm assuming it sends like the second person that you sent back to their original spot in that map. So you can go back and pick them up again if you want. But once you pick the 4 that you want, each character has a hidden dungeon to do on that map.
Oh, jeez.
And they're not apparent. So I had to look up a guide at this point, because it's a lot of just, okay, if you break this stone with this character, that opens up the dungeon for them. And in each of these dungeons for those individual characters, you get their final weapon, which is something you definitely need to fight the final boss, or else you're not doing anything, really. And I was barely doing anything even with them, and I was considered over-leveled.
Oh, wow.
All the characters get their final abilities at level 16. So around 16 is when people are saying that you could go challenge the final boss and be fine. I was around level 22, and I had a hell of a time fighting that final boss. It starts out where there's 4 enemies on the screen. I'm not going to get story related or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about my experience with the boss. It starts out where there's 4 unique enemies on the screen. One of them does not do anything the entire time unless you hit it, and then it massively buffs everything else enemy-wise on your screen, and basically heals them back to full health almost.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, which sucks, and it hurts.
Yeah.
So you're contending with those 3, trying not to hit the 4th one. I was able to slowly knock them down one by one, and then once you knock out the 3 on the bottom, that 4th one becomes a boss and starts actively.
That wasn't even my final form.
Exactly. So one thing I hate about this is that, yes, you can do status effects like poison and paralyze and stuff like that, but you never do as much damage to the enemies as the enemies do to you with those kind of things.
Right. So
you could poison a boss, and you're doing like 16 points of damage every turn. When the boss does it to you, it's like 60 to 80 damage every turn. And it's not just that character's turn or just the boss's turn. It's anytime anyone's turn comes up, that person takes damage.
Oh, jeez.
So when that final boss came up, the thing had electrocuted one of my characters, and on that tile, it turned that to electricity and then paralyzed my character so I couldn't move them.
Oh, jeez.
The electricity damage happens every round for anyone that has a turn, and it almost killed him the first time. So before I could even do a turn against this boss, I was already down a character. Like, full dead, couldn't revive them. They were just gone. So that left me with 3 characters to figure out this boss with.
Yeah.
It did not start out well. Luckily, I had 2 characters. One of them could heal themselves. The other one could heal themselves or other characters. So I kind of split them up at first to try to get a feel for what the boss's damage and range and all that stuff was going. And it was going well enough that I could have at least one character attacking while the other 2 kept recovering from everything the final boss was doing. And I managed to finally get it to a point where I tricked, somehow, the boss into only attacking one character that could heal itself, while the other 2 could keep it. Like, I had them separated just enough, and the boss had gotten itself far enough on the map that just attacking this one character was all it needed to do because it was within range. And the other 2 were just outside of range. So it's constantly attacking this one character that their sole purpose was to tank that damage and then heal themselves, while the other two slowly chipped away at the 3,000 health that this boss had. And we're doing like 100 damage maybe, 150 on a critical maybe. So it got hairy. I had to move a character, which scared me a little bit because I was afraid I was going to break what I had going.
Right.
It didn't. And then the boss move, and that scared me, but that didn't break anything either. So I was able to just cheese it doing that, and I beat the final boss.
Nice.
And that was very, very harrowing because from everything I was reading online, if you die during this boss fight, you have to restart the entire sequence all over again.
Oh, jeez. Old school RPGs,
the best
man.
kind of JRPG consequences.
Yeah.
I will say overall, it's a fine game. I really like playing it. It is. I don't know if it was this way in the original, but the fact that when you complete a battle, all of your characters automatically heal back to full health.
Nice.
So even if one dies, they just automatically revived and are at full health again.
That's great.
And that is a very big saving grace because it could have been Final Fantasy 1 all over again, where it's like, I have no resources. I have a white mage that has no MP, and you know.
Yep. So. I'm at the bottom of a dungeon.
Yep.
Yep.
Excuse me. There are 3 other endings that I looked up just to see what the conditions were for them, and I'm not going to spoil them here, but I think those endings are kind of interesting how you get them. And I kind of like what they do for one of them, where it's the one where if you select a specific character, you get a completely different final chapter.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
So I may go back and try that out just to test it, because without spoiling anything, I like the story of what that particular character goes through. And 100% on board for what it seems like could happen in that chapter.
Right.
So I may go back and check that out, but I have my Switch back out in the living room because my kids have been desperately wanting to play a game, and I've been holding it up hostage in here. So, but yeah, Live and Live, great game. Go check it out. I think it's on PS4 now as well. So if you don't want it on the Switch, go for that. But my very, very last game that I also beat is Eternight.
Oh, wow. You already beat it.
Yeah. I came in right, like, either just below or right at 12 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. Every dungeon, and I'm not going to spoil anything with this either. Every dungeon that you do in this game, you can complete that same, like, your first go in there.
Right.
I did it with all 3 of them. I think there's only 3 or 4, one or the other. It's just a lot of paying attention what the enemy's doing, but you eventually get enough upgrades where it's like if you do a full combo, you're healing back like 5% health and like 2% SP.
Oh, wow, nice.
So eventually you start to become a little bit more self-sufficient within the dungeon. Not a whole lot, like it doesn't give you a ton of breathing room, but it gives you enough to be able to pull through. And I think I said it last time too, one of the bosses that I fought, it did kill me, but it put me right back in there at the start of the boss fight, you know, just before I engaged it with like full SP and full health.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and that's just on, I think I was playing on normal, whatever the default was for the game. But it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the story. It does have its weird anime moments.
Yep. Like the end of the first dungeon when you're falling through the air and you create a parachute, which was a real anime moment.
Yeah, that was a real WTF. Why did you go that route? Why didn't you just create a parachute?
Yep.
But it was funny though, watching everybody fall and Chinese in the background trying to fly because what else are you going to do?
Right.
And the other 2 are just silently freaking out by themselves.
Yeah.
But they also handle, for as many immature moments, well, not immature, but I guess you could call them immature moments. There were mature moments where it's like one character talks about how they need to get pads because they're on their period.
Right.
And you're in the middle of an apocalypse, so you have to help them find them. And they're very hesitant coming to you as a male to say, hey, I kind of need something. Let's go look for them. And I felt like they handled that pretty well. It wasn't like, the main character freaking out or anything. There may have been a choice to freak out, but I'm a grown man, so I'm just like, all right, cool, let's go get you what you need so we can get back to doing what we need to be doing,
Back to the dungeon.
Yeah. But I had a ton of fun. I enjoyed the story. They did do a plot thing that you don't see very many video games do. I can only think of a handful off the top of my head.
Interesting.
And at first I thought I kind of screwed myself, but it ended up working out, and it gave me a pretty good ending.
Nice.
That is all I'm going to say about that. I think I might check it out. There is a New Game Plus.
Oh, okay.
It does. I'm trying to think. I didn't start the New Game Plus, but I have the option. And from what I was reading, you keep the nodes that you've developed. Anything that you've purchased, you keep. Your stats, you keep. But like your friendship ranks and stuff like that reset, and so do the scavenging items that you get.
Oh, okay.
The scavenging items, I will say, if you have the option to train with a character or scavenge with them, always scavenge. Don't do any of the trainings. It's kind of a waste of time. You get more of the white, I forget what they were calling,
essence,
but the white spirit points or essence or whatever. You get more of that doing the scavenging, and you also get a stat increase when you do the scavenging with the character. So like with Men, one of the characters you get later on, every time you do a scavenge with her, you get like your 4 white essence, and then you get like a +2 to defense.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And because this resets every time you do a New Game Plus, there's a couple of people talking about how like you can really boost up your character stats by constantly doing the scavenge. Like, every playthrough, just redo the scavenging, and you keep those stats with your character.
Interesting.
So you could make the extreme mode that they have in here, or the hard mode, whatever, like super, super easy if you wanted to.
Okay.
But it's a lot of fun. Also, end of credits. Again, not going to spoil anything, but at the end, there is a QR code for you to scan with your phone. I haven't found a concrete reason for why, but apparently on all of the endings, on the final product, I don't know if it's the same with the digital version or if it's just the physical, but apparently they cut out a character message that's like 10 to 15 seconds long at the end of the ending.
Okay.
All of the endings.
Oh.
Excuse me. So there's a QR code at the end of the credits that if you scan with your phone, it will bring you to Size Studios' YouTube page where they have all the character endings there. And in the tag, they have the character there. So depending on, once you get to that point, you will understand what I'm talking about. But
interesting.
You go there and just skip to like the last, 20 seconds of the video, and that will be the message that was supposed to be in the game. That
and you get to hear Revolver Ocelot say, "Of course, Mr. President."
Yes, the best part.
That's right.
A lot of Metal Gear references in this.
That's right.
This week, but outside of that, they were already talking about when this game released. They're already working on another game. I don't know. They haven't said anything about what it is. It could be something completely different.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they would do a sequel with this game, but if they do something along these lines, again, I would be interested in checking it out because this has been kind of a fun horror Persona kind of game.
Yeah.
And if they keep it the same way, where it's like 12 to 15 hours and $40, like I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with this.
Nice.
But Eternights, great game. Go check it out.
Yep.
That's all I've been playing this week.
All right. I spent a bunch more time playing Risk of Rain Returns. I spent most of my week playing as the Huntress, just to try out some of the other classes. Had a run. I had a run. One of the like in-game achievements was to get to level 20. Every time I finished the game, I was like level 13 to 15 or something. So I just started a looping run to see how high I could get. That was a pretty long run to get to level 20, but those runs in Risk of Rain are always fun because you're just unbelievably overpowered by that point. You've been playing for like an hour and a half, and
oh, wow.
You've picked up like 75 items, and you're just like a walking tank. It's really great. A lot of my time this week, if you're watching the video version, you can see it, but a lot of my time this week has been, I'm not looking anything up on this game, so I realized that there's kind of, you didn't see them much in the original game, but it's a lot clearer in this version, where you'll see like monster logs or like items you can pick up inside the walls in the level, and they're just kind of like encased in stone in the middle of like the side of the level. So I spent a bunch of time this week kind of poking and prodding and seeing how to get into a bunch of that stuff. And once you see how the game is communicating to you that there's a path in to go get one of those things, you can kind of see where those paths are in a bunch of the levels. So I was spending some time poking at the levels this week to see if I could get a bunch of those things, and I could. So I've gotten like an additional color scheme for all of my characters. I don't think this was in the original game, but all of the characters have 4 color schemes to them when you start. And a lot of it is like, here's the regular color's red, so you have a purple and a blue and a green. And it's basically like palette swap sort of things. I unlocked a different color scheme for every character by finding one of those pickups. I'm starting to pick up a bunch of the artifacts that they eventually introduced into the first game. I don't think it was there at the beginning, but I think one of the patches introduced that. So I picked up, I think it has to be the first one you get, which is the Artifact of Command, which basically there are no random drops anymore. Every time you get a drop, a chest drops. When you interact with that, you can just pick any of the items you've already unlocked.
Okay.
And there are restrictions. So there's like 3 different types of chests that drop. One from the boss, a normal chest, and then kind of one in the middle where they're not the super overpowered items, but the kind of in the middle really good ones. I also got the one where every enemy that spawns is an elite enemy. So it's the one with the bigger health and the bigger health bar and the more powerful skills. So I unlocked 2 or 3, I think. It looks like there's 10 to 15 there, I think. So there's a ton this time, and I've unlocked maybe a couple more characters, but I don't even think I have half of them unlocked in the game. There's a pretty good amount of content in this, in a way that, just like the original game, and to a degree Risk of Rain 2, doesn't feel like there's too much in here. It just feels like, all right, as I keep playing, as I keep doing things in the game and, finishing runs and beating bosses, I'm kind of slowly unlocking stuff as I dig deeper into this. And that's the kind of roguelike stuff I like, where I especially like in this game that they have, a lot like Vampire Survivors, they have an entire menu of, here's all the unlocks. And it'll have a thing like, all right, you've unlocked the engineer. Here are 5 unlocks for them. It's, like, beat the game 5 times, kill 3,500 enemies, play for 10 hours. And it's got a whole list. The Huntress, here's 5 things. Or here's, beat the game 5 times, and then you can get a different unlockable. I got something for getting to level 20 in one run. That's another one of those things. So
that's good. That way you've always got something that you're trying to do.
Yeah,
a checklist or something.
I also appreciate not only having an objective, because I think that's what kept me playing Vampire and keeps me playing Vampire Survivors for so long, but it's also like, all right, you have like 12 characters unlockable on this screen. How do I get them? Like, I really don't want to go to a wiki, or I don't want to go to some website or watch some YouTube video about, like, here's how you unlock all the characters in Risk of Rain Returns. I want to be in the game, and I want to see how to do that in the game. Even if you have some, like, one of them, Acrid, who's a really fun character that is back. It's sort of like, find this survivor in one of the levels. Okay, cool. I will I will scour the levels until I eventually find them, or I'll get the right variation of the level that they exist in there, and then we'll do that. But it's better than just being like, I don't know. Whatever, I don't know. You figure it out. Hit the internet. Whatever. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's kind of my anti Spirit Hunters Infinite Horde, because that Spirit Hunters can only run for 15 minutes, which they actually just put out a patch today, I think it was, that puts in turbo mode, which can make runs last 7.5 minutes because it goes twice the speed, which is really interesting. I got to go in there and check that out. But it's kind of the antithesis of that, where it's like, you can play as long as you want. You want to have a 20-minute run on hard mode and call it there? Great. Do you want to play for 2 straight hours and just keep looping? Great. You can do that too. So I like having a whole bunch of roguelikes that kind of all fit those kind of different time needs. So go play Spirit Hunters Infinite Horde. It's really good. Okay. Next game I've been playing, Bluey the video game. Finally came in. I've
been hearing great things about this one.
Yeah, they're leading you astray. I fired it up and I said, "Hey, kiddo, let's play."
Come on.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. What?
I said I've been hearing rough things about this.
Oh, I've been rough things about. Take 3. So I told my kid, hey, the Bluey game came in. Let's pop it in the PS5. Let's start this up. We're going to play a 2-player. Tried to play a 3-player. The PS5 I'm finding is really weird. If you have a controller you haven't used for a while, where it's like, hey man, you're on version 200 of this controller. We need to update to version like 435. If you can't update it, it doesn't work. Good luck. Also, you can't update it because the battery's dead. It's like, yeah, wait, what? So that was fun. So we've played it 2-player. Positive things about it. It has all of the original voice actors. So it's not like, hello, it's me, Bandit, healer, from the TV show. It has... And it's not just like stitched together voice lines from the show. It's all original voice acted stuff. It's all 5 original stories in this that all kind of come together. So I think that stuff is really well done. It looks like the show. The house, all the rooms in the house look pretty close to the show. So if you are like any of us that have kids, you probably watch this way too much. You kind of know where to go in the house already, which is like a sad, scary thing. So it feels pretty authentic. It controls pretty well. My kid, she's 7, so she's not really great at using 2 thumbsticks to move around 3D space. You don't have to do that in this. It's just you don't control the camera. It just kind of follows you as you do just the left stick. So it is, from a control perspective, it is a kind of friendly, a more friendly experience. Favor in chat said, did your favorite character make it? I have not yet seen Snickers, but I'm on the lookout for him. There are a ton of...
Is Snickers a poodle? Please tell me Snickers is a poodle.
No, Snickers is a what are the long short dogs?
Sausage dog?
Yeah, he's a sausage dog. So yeah, he's really great. He has his own news station in the show. Be a poodle. He's great. His news is
poodle.
That's true. His show is K9 News, which is really great. There are a ton of stickers and like collectibles in the game, which we haven't really gone for a reason I'll talk about here in a minute. But I'm hoping that he is in there. Thank you, Dachshund. Thank you, Favor. So that's the good stuff. Let's move to the bad stuff. It's about an hour to an hour and a half long, which is really short.
Is it a full priced or?
It's 40 or 50, so it's not full price,
Okay.
but it's pretty
Should have been a
expensive.
20 or 15.
Yeah, like it's pretty expensive for a 90-minute to 2-hour thing. And I'm playing with my kid, so it's not me just like speed running, summer games done quick style of just like,
You're not beating up kids in the playground with your tic-tac-toe skills.
That's exactly like. So they do have the original voice actors. All of the voice lines in this game seem to be mixed at different volumes. So a bunch of characters are very quiet, and a couple of them are just yelling. I don't really know why. The controls are fairly solid, but it's... How do I explain this? It's really frustrating that all this care seems to be taken to make this game a Bluey game and have all the elements in there that are represented in the show. But like if you're watching the video version here, you're playing Keepy Uppy, the famous, keeping the balloon off the ground game from an early episode of Bluey. But the problem is, when a kid plays this game in real life, they're not just like hitting it twice and then leaving, which is what the game is making you do. Like you bounce the balloon 2 or 3 times between your characters, and then they're like, all right, moving on to something else. We're going to go to this other room to keep playing. And then you hit it 2 more times, and then you move on.
You want the Final Fantasy skipping game of balloons.
I mean, I want to at least hit it more than twice, because like you kind of get into it, especially as like a tutorial for moving the character. It's really great, but you never really get into it in a way that feels fun to kind of do it a bunch of times. And that kind of extends into the rest of the game. So the whole thing in the game is you find a piece of a map that Bandit, the dad, had made with his 2 brothers when Stripes and Red, when they were kids, and they broke it up, and each one of them has a piece of it, and on the back of it is a like X marks the spot kind of hidden treasure thing. So it's like, well, of course we have to put the map together, and of course we have to find where this is and go get the buried treasure. In standard Bluey fashion, it ends up being a very sweet story when it comes down to it, when you like finally dig up the buried treasure. My biggest frustration, and the thing that stopped my daughter from playing this with me, we played this in 2 sessions, and every time we stopped, because she stopped halfway through the second session too, was frustration with the controls. And the thing that was really bothering her each time, and it's baffling why this happened, was there's a couple of parts where you're in the game and you have to jump across a bunch of different things, like stones or logs, or you're playing as ground as lava, of course, because it's Bluey. And you have to jump from like one piece of playground equipment to the other. The biggest problem is that this game is so exact about what you need to do in every one of these instances. Like, if you have to go grab something to drag it out of the way, or you have to interact with another character, you have to be dead on in the exact right spot to hit the button, and then like pull the stick in exactly the right way to have this happen. It's very counter to how kids play, where it's like, I'm going to get close to it and I'm going to mash the square button, and then it's going to need to work. And then I'm just going to like
precision that isn't generally found in that age group.
100%. And like the worst case of it, and the thing that made my kids stop playing consistently, was when you're jumping between these things, like later on in the game, you're jumping across a bunch of rocks in this creek. And because she's young, she's overshooting these rocks, or she's undershooting it, which is fine because she's learning how to play the game. That's all normal stuff. But when you touch the water, or when you're playing Ground's Lava, you touch the ground, there's no animation for you to say that you landed in the water or anything. As soon as you touch that water, it teleports you back to the beginning of the jumping puzzle with no, like, it doesn't stop it doesn't stop the input. So
yeah.
She's continually landing in the water over and over and over again until her brain catches up that she needs to stop moving because she has failed the jumping puzzle. And so, like, she's getting frustrated because if there had been an animation of one of the kids, like, splashing in the water and kind of, like, disappearing and appearing over here, that probably would have resolved the issue. But, like, in 5 frames, she just disappears and she's a ways back, and like a lot of times was just her putting the controller down and like, I don't want to play this anymore, because there's no feedback on what she's doing wrong other than she's teleporting around the level and she doesn't know why. And they try to remedy some of that by, if one character, usually player 1, gets too far away from the other characters, there's like a P1 and a P2 icon above characters. It will like drain the color out of the other character's icon and teleport them to you. So you can kind of drag other characters along with you if they're having trouble kind of getting from point A to point B, but it doesn't happen fast enough. So she was getting frustrated because she's off screen, not being able to see. It doesn't do like a Lego game, like splitting the screen or anything. It's just she's off in no man's land off the screen and not knowing what she's doing. So it was really frustrating for me to see this game that seems to have all the pieces there, but I'm not a game developer, so please don't misunderstand me, but it really didn't feel like it was a game that was heavily tested with kids. Because if you're like me and you're 42 years old, you're blowing through this game in like 45 minutes and you're like, yeah, I'll jump across these rocks, boop, 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 and we're done. But there needed to be more here to keep a kid playing, especially when the ratio of like cutscenes to gameplay was kind of off in the favor of cutscenes. So you're watching a bunch of stuff, sort of like watching a Bluey episode, and then you're going to play a bunch of stuff that's really frustrating, and then watching a whole bunch more stuff. So the whole thing just really didn't come together in a way that I think was really satisfying. And it's a real bummer, because it looks really good, and it runs well, and all the voice actors are here, and it's a cool idea, and you're playing like a mini episode of Bluey, but it didn't come together at all, and that's a real bummer. It's a real missed opportunity. So, and it's way too much money for like an hour and a half. So,
yeah,
it's just a bummer overall. Which I was hoping.
I will wait for Game Pass.
Yeah, I think if you can find this game for like that $15 price, and maybe your kids are like 9 or 10 and maybe can be a little bit more resilient to failure, or maybe they're playing a bunch of games already, so they kind of know what the deal is, maybe you're in a pretty good spot. But at this point, if your kid is kind of the target market for Bluey, it might be a little bit too much for their age range, which is a bummer. So I don't know. I was hoping, especially watching footage of the Peppa Pig game that Moon was playing, you look at that game and say, this looks very simple and it's very low stakes and looks exactly like the show. That seems to be, and some of these Paw Patrol games are really good about that, of like, there's no real fail state. You kind of just do whatever you want. It's not really like a competitive thing. You're just kind of playing this game. That seemed to be more like what this Bluey game needed to be, and it really wasn't. So maybe skip on this one. Last game I have here, very similar game, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, another
Bluey
another
DLC's just around the corner.
Yep, another turn-based RPG.
Hey, use that phone to summon Bluey is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I would pay for that DLC. That would be really great. I finished chapter 10 and I'm into chapter 11 now. They're looking at a walkthrough. There's about 15 chapters, it seems like. But it looks like the difficulty spike part is at the beginning of chapter 12. So I'm trying to push to the point where I get that dungeon opened up so I can start like grinding in there and, you know, switching jobs and leveling characters and stuff. I just got 2 additional characters in my roster here. I did have a character that left my party for a while and in typical Yakuza fashion, came back in an incredibly cool way, which was really great.
nice.
And the thing that I think I realized while I was playing this is I really love how these games are telling these detailed, complex stories. There's a ton of characters at play here. There are like 4 or 5 full stories going on at the same time that are all interwoven and intermingled together. Like, it's telling a pretty complex story, but the game has a lot of faith in you as the player, that you're going to be paying attention and you're going to be following along, and it's not... There aren't a lot of, like, last time on Yakuza Like a Dragon, this happened. It's like, no, that happened 5 minutes ago. You're paying attention and you're following along with the story. And I really respect that because I feel like we don't get that a lot in a lot of RPGs and kind of story-heavy games now. Final Fantasy 16, I think, did a fun take on that where it's kind of, you get to recap the story at your own speed. I think that was a fun solution to the problem. But I like that this game is just like, yeah, man, pay attention. You're following along this story, so keep up with it. And
They did the thing. They had you focus on an item in this video.
That's
and
right.
They did the other thing.
The Yakuza games are great. It's just like, oh, he's got to be in the box. Nope, he's not in the box.
It was the hardest thing too.
Mm-hmm. It's really great. And then funny. One of them is in the box. And I really love how much this game really loves and plays so much homage to Dragon Quest. I will never stop talking about how much I love this. I haven't mentioned that when a new party member joins your party, it pops up with a text box from Dragon Quest that just says, this character's joined your party, and it plays the MIDI.
I was going to say, does it play the jingle?
It plays the MIDI jingle of, like, this party member's joined your party,
man.
and it's like, and you can't even hit the button to progress the menu until the jingle has finished. It's so good. Like, it's people
know
really,
what they're doing.
It's really, really good, and I've really been enjoying the story. Now so much of the little pieces and breadcrumbs that the game has been laying up until this point are finally sort of starting to come to pass, and everything that's been in the game so far has been like all of it is starting to connect and sort of leading into a much larger mystery here. So I'm really... I unfortunately haven't had a lot of time to play this game because my kid was off this week, and a large part of the story in this game, I don't want to put a trigger warning on this, is someone early on in the game that you're working for gets murdered, and they keep showing it on screen of just like this essentially dead body.
Flashback, yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, hey, remember when this guy died? And I was like, yeah, man, you showed me like 7 times. Yes, I remember. It's kind of an important part. I can't really play it because they're it is very much an M-rated game. So I'm really hoping to kind of put the gas pedal to it this week and hit that dungeon in Chapter 12 and start grinding in a dungeon and getting job levels raised and all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. But that's all the games I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Yeah, take a drink here.
Dude, that with Live a Live, that's how it was too for that final chapter. I was just doing it's just old school grinding while trying to get those dungeons and the weapons.
Right.
And I found it oddly soothing to just have random encounters and then have to sit there and think about what I was doing for those fights.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people have like, I can't believe I have to grind in this JRPG, and it's like, yeah, but like, you're always working towards something. Like, you put on a podcast, watch a movie at the same, or something. Like, you can do the grind can be enjoyable. I don't know if it's going to be or not, which is part of the reason why I'm kind of like pushing to get there. Because if it's not enjoyable, then I can understand why people might be dropping the game at this point. But the Yakuza games have always been JRPGs. You just need to grind a little bit more in this one.
And I feel like at least with the first two, there was like kind of a skill check at some point. It wasn't like insurmountable, but it was definitely oh crap, I've been using the same equipment since the start of the game. It's time for me to find new equipment kind of thing.
Yeah. Or at least like use different skills or like do some side stories to get some experience or something. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not uncommon. Okay, let me open up all the videos here. Tiger Milk in chat says, hey guys, I'm currently on a Dreamcast kick. Any tips for good games?
Can't go wrong with a lot of them, man.
Yeah, like a lot of the Dreamcast catalog is really good. A game I never hear people talk about a lot is, I think it was Armada. It's the top-down 2D spaceship shooting game that's kind of like an open world twin stick shooter spaceship game. That was a lot of fun. If you haven't played,
was it the Code Veronica version on the Dreamcast?
I think that one was good. Yeah.
Code Veronica was originally a Dreamcast game.
Yeah.
Skies of Arcadia is kind of the classic JRPG. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on the Dreamcast. I mean, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, both of those are kind of classics for a reason.
Yeah, Jet Set Radio?
Yeah, Jet Set Radio.
Space Channel 5.
Yep, like, both of those are good.
You know.
Crazy Taxi?
Yeah, Crazy Taxi, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be stuck in my head all day now.
Day after day. All right.
Skies of Arcadia, like you said, was pretty good. I can't remember if there were a lot of RPGs on the Dreamcast or not. I never played it, and I never heard anyone talk.
I think there was like that and Egg. Evolution, I think, was maybe another one.
What's the oh crap, the one that everyone makes fun of because you could drive a forklift? I think it started with an S.
Oh,
Shenmue,
thank you. Yeah, the Shenmue games were technically a JRPG / GTA kind of.
Oh, here we go. Grandia 2 is
that was on there too?
Really good. Yeah, that's a really good version of Grandia.
100% Grandia.
Yeah. I wish there was a version of Phantasy Star Online that wasn't online, like Phantasy Star. What was the Phantasy Star Online that was on PSP? It was PSO, but it was offline.
Was that 3? I mean, you could play them all offline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could play them as a single player.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember.
Because on the game, when they came out on the GameCube, you had 1 and 2, and then 3 eventually, the card game one. Those were all off. So maybe on the Dreamcast they were, but I know on the GameCube version you could play them offline.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw somebody was playing Phantasy Star 2 online, or not online, but I think it's that version of the game's called Online.
Mm-hmm.
And man, did that bring back a lot of memories of feeding mags and just listening to like the warping sounds and the soundtrack in the background. I was like, man, that is bringing back a lot of memories. Yeah,
turning him into a Genesis. Oh man!
So there's another good RPG for you as well.
Yep. There, like you said, there aren't a ton on Dreamcast. There was a lot more like action fighting game stuff,
which is disappointing. They had the Chocobo mini game on the memory card thing.
Yeah. Yep.
But they never had a Final Fantasy game release on the Dreamcast. No. Yeah.
No.
Sega, man, come out with the Dreamcast 2. Come on.
That's
what are
right.
you waiting for?
Dare you to do it.
we need a fourth machine to buy for $600.
That's right. All right, are you guys ready to do the end of this show?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
No problem, Tiger.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of September 27th, 2023. Let's start off with Calico coming out for PS4 and PS5. This came out on Switch and PC, I think it was about 2 years ago. This is they call them a community sim. Essentially, you're a bunch of witches that are running a cat cafe, and it's your job to kind of revitalize the cat cafe and, take care of the cats and decorate the space and a bunch of stuff.
So I might have to buy this for my daughter then.
Yeah, people
and
seem
my
to
wife
like
probably.
People seem to like it okay. I bet if you pick it up on Switch, it's probably on sale. So it seemed like people seem to have a lot of fun with it, but I don't think it had the kind of staying power of something like a Stardew Valley or something like that. So,
yeah.
But I mean, what really does?
Pretty sure this was a Games with Gold game at some point.
Oh, okay. So you might already have it
on
then.
The Xbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll look for it.
Next up, Dune Spice Wars coming out on the series consoles. This is Game Pass day and date. We have talked about it recently on the show because Moon's been checking it out on PC when the 1.0 release came out not that long ago. It came out of early access. So this is the Dune 4X game. Very curious to see how this is going to do on controller. I play Stellaris on PS5, and that does really well on controller, so it's not an impossibility. But curious to see if you have a Dreamcast. Excuse me. If you have a Game Pass, go check this out. You might find a 4X game you like.
I'm curious if it is cross-save.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure.
Play Anywhere? That's the words I was looking for.
Yes, right. Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Correction. Calico is currently on Game Pass.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go. So you probably already own it. And Dune Spice Wars. Next game here, Roller Drome, comes out to series consoles. This is also Game Pass day and date. This was it has the same kind of art style as Sable, that Mobius style, but this is the third-person rollerblading shooter it came out on PlayStation platforms and I think PC a year and a half ago, I think it was. People seem to like this kind of well, but I think the biggest not criticism, but maybe the biggest piece of feedback I always heard was, yo, this game's hard. So I don't think I was expecting that when it came out, that this was going to be kind of a more difficult experience, but that seemed to be the usual refrain was, hey, this isn't like Jet Set Radio where it's like, yeah, we're having fun, we're rollerblading, yeah, woo. But like this is a more difficult thing. So, but people seem to like it. So, go ahead and check that out. Next game up here is Gangs of Sherwood, coming out on PS5 series consoles and PC. I have been tickled by this game for a while. It is like a tech Robin Hood retelling. It's like a 4-player co-op thing that actually looks a whole lot of fun. If you're listening to the audio version of this, I really recommend checking out a trailer for this. It looks like one of those games that would be kind of fun to just shoot the poops and play with a couple of friends and hack and slash a whole bunch of enemies and like play your class. It seems it actually looks pretty good.
It's very steampunk inspired there.
Yeah. It looks it'll always forget. It also has a Devil May Cry like rating system, like with the C is for classy, B is for beautiful and stuff as you're hack and slashing, which is really wild. It looks pretty interesting. So that's Gangs of Sherwood. Next team here, Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince comes out on Switch. If there's ever an RPG I have not paid attention to nearly at all, it's the Dragon Quest Monsters series, which has been going on since I think the Game Boy Advance, maybe. Yeah. Like, it's been a really long time. I know this is kind of like a monster friending and fusing RPG where you're not really fighting. It's kind of you are raising and training and fusing Dragon Quest monsters to then fight other monsters. People seem to really like these over the years, and for some reason they always manage to come out at really the worst time for me to want to pick up another JRPG, like November. So, sorry, another Dragon Quest Monsters game. It's just not going to happen.
Because this one's different from the Dragon Quest Joker games, right?
Those are another layer removed from this in a way that I forget.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest Joker is like one-on-one, I think. Like you're only... I don't know.
This is Pokemon and this is...
Right.
What was it, Champions or whatever?
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, I don't... There's a difference there that I kind of... I don't understand or appreciate. So, and that's on me. That's not on Square Enix. So, I'll pick up Dragon Quest, 12, whenever that comes out. I'll pick that up, but yeah. That's Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. Last game we have here is Steam World Build. Another one of the SteamWorld games, and of course, as it usually goes, this is a totally different game from all the other ones.
Yep.
This is so there's two games in one. You kind of have the above ground part of the game where you're running a town, and you're kind of doing the town building and planning and management. I kind of want to say it's like SimCity, but I don't think it's at that same big scale unless I have only seen early stuff of this game. But you're kind of designing the town to do all of that stuff and like attracting new people to come in the town and running the town. And then you go underground to sort of mine stuff under there, and that turns into an exploration kind of tower defense-ish thing where you're trying to go deeper and deeper into the mines that are underneath the ground. Not in like a first-person kind of rock and stone sort of way, but in a third-person kind of isometric way. And it looks really cool. This is coming out for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. I don't know, like, I appreciate that the SteamWorld team, and teams, I should say, are just like, oh, this one's like a Dig Dug game, and oh, this one's a card-based roguelike, and oh, this one's, Dungeon Keeper and SimCity. We smushed those two together. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, I respect it. Go follow your bliss. So that's Steam World Build coming out this week. That's all of our releases. We do have one news story. We've got one news story and one question here that we're going to kind of get through here pretty quickly because we've been recording forever. News story up this week. Warner Brothers confirms the Wonder Woman game is in development. Apparently, they announced this kind of at the Game Awards 2 years ago. I don't remember that at all.
It was talked about the same time as Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights, I believe.
Okay, that's probably why I don't remember it. I went back to watch the trailer, and it was basically like
the logo, if I remember.
It's like the logo and like her costume, and it was just like that's kind of it for the teaser. A job listing was posted recently at Monolith Productions for an upcoming Wonder Woman title with a job focused on, quote, helping maintain a live software product or game, end quote, as a desirable skill for the role. And everyone on the internet went, man, like it's a live service Wonder Woman. So actually, Warner Brothers came out this week and was like, yeah, sorry, that was a mistake. We're not making a live service game out of this. We're not doing that. Don't worry, it's a single player game, and it's also going to feature the Nemesis system. So keep an eye out for that. And I was like, wait, sorry, what? You're bringing the Nemesis system back? All right, let's do it. I'm not sure how that's going to work for a Wonder Woman game, but more than happy to see how that's gonna shake out for another game.
Their copyright has to be almost running out on that.
Yeah,
no, they're gonna keep renewing it. I think they actually got it for like, isn't it like at least 10 years or something?
It's like 10, yeah. But I don't know how it is with video games. I know for like movies and music and stuff like that, it generally is 10 years. But after a while, though, I think, I'm no lawyer or anything, but my understanding is that you can only copyright it so many times before it's just public domain and anyone can use it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
that's a system. Middle Earth is one of those games that I have tried to get into, again, like Dragon's Dogma, so many times, and I just fall off, and I don't know why. But that Nemesis system has always been like the coolest thing out of those games, and you just don't ever see them use it.
Right. Yeah, and it's such a bummer that they, copyrighted it or trademarked it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a bummer that they're just like, yeah, we did that incredibly cool thing. See you later. It's just like, no, wait, you got to keep using it. It's cool. So I'm curious to see what a Wonder Woman game would be like, and then putting the Nemesis system on top of that is sort of like, all right, I'm not sure I know on paper how that's going to work, but I'm curious to see what that's going to be. Curious enough to kind of keep an eye on it as it's under development. So
I would guess you would just like kind of progress through like named henchmen until you get to like a Wonder Woman villain.
Yeah. And there's nothing really in the statement they put out, because they said, quote, this third-person experience will allow players to become Diana of Themyscira and introduce an original story set in the DC universe, ... end quote. So, like, there's not even any idea of, like, does it take place there? Does it take place in kind of the rest of the world? So I'm
Is this Wonder Woman 1980?
Right. And it could be a cool thing of just, like, you're going around town as Wonder Woman and just, like, saving stuff around the town. You're kind of beating up bad guys and you're doing open world stuff. That would be all right.
Yeah, flying your invisible jet.
Oh God. Listen to Wonder Woman 1984 in critical misses for my thoughts of Wonder Woman's invisible jet. All right, let's move on to a question here. We have a quick one from Pharaoh Reigns, sent this over in Discord. It says, I know PS Prices tracks digital sales. Do they also track physical sales? If not, what's your go-to for physical discounts?
I believe they do.
So it's my funny, I had the same knee-jerk reaction, too, of like, yeah, of course they do. And then I went, it's like, yeah, but seemingly not very well anymore, or it's not consistent of... like where everything to get a bunch of stuff, or it's not always super clear about this game has a physical version and we're tracking it. It's like I went to go look at Alan Wake 2 and I was like, oh, that might not have a physical version, so maybe they don't track that. I'll look at Spider-Man. Oh, that has a physical version, but it's not tracked super well. So it seems like it's kind of inconsistent, but I do like when they do track it, they'll give you the alert of like, it's this price digitally, and then it's this price from Amazon or Walmart or Target or stuff like that. So yeah. When it does apply, it does pretty well. Are you guys using anything else? I haven't tracked a bunch of stuff lately other than like on the PS5 by adding to my wish list, because they'll just send me a giant email of like, here's 20 things on sale, here you go.
That's the thing, since both consoles added wish listing on the stores, I haven't had a need to go anywhere else, because like you were saying, I get emails or I get alerts on the console saying, hey, your wish list item is on sale for,
the app will
whatever.
let me know.
Yeah. physically though, like the only games I buy physically really are most of them, but JRPGs, and those are usually the collector's edition, so I'm not looking for sales on those. I'm buying them because if I don't, I'm never going to see them
Atlas
again.
makes one print run, and NIS makes one print run. Yeah.
Exactly. But outside, the only other thing I could think of is just, if you go to Google, just type in the game that you're looking for and click shop. You know, the shop icon.
Right.
That pulls up all the listings, but again, you have to be careful with that because that also pulls in like eBay listings, and stores are doing the stupid thing now, where it's like if you go to Walmart and Target.com now, you're not getting just Walmart or Target sales, you're getting third-party vendors as well.
That's
so
annoying.
You have to really pay attention on who you're buying from as well, because it may be too good of a deal, you know?
Right. Yeah, I got a $10 copy of Spider-Man 2. You want to buy it? My dog bit a hole into it, but it should be fine. It's like, well...
Or it turns out it's just the case in very small... You know, that
yeah, exactly.
stuff. Yeah,
it's a picture of a PS5 box, and it's like, they got me.
Yeah, but that was the only other thing I could think of, because I don't track physical that much.
Right.
I don't, period. Like, if I happen to see something that's a good deal, I might pick it up, but I don't like specifically track it because I moved to a different country. I didn't have the space for it, so I kind of gave up on that life.
Mm-hmm. My biggest problem lately is my backlog is big enough and my time is small enough that the idea of adding more games to the list seems daunting. So like, it might be on sale. Sure, Spider-Man 2 might be on sale for $40. I don't know when I'm going to be able to play it, so I'm not going to buy it now, because when I get around to playing it, I might be like, oh yeah, we played that years ago, it's $20. And we're like, yes, perfect, fantastic. Yeah. Great. I haven't even played Miles Morales yet. I'll get to that first.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing that I've been doing with like smaller games is I'll just make a mental note of it, or I have an Excel spreadsheet, and if I happen to be out and about and see it for like dirt cheap, I'll pick it up then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I bought Baldur's Gate 3, that edition, the $70 edition with all the cool stuff. And I'm like, I don't have time for that game, but I wanted all the cool stuff.
It comes with a map.
Outside of that, I guess if you use Amazon, which I don't, I think you can track a bunch of games as well for like price history.
Probably
and stuff
at least
like that
put them
there.
in a wish list. Yeah. I mean, for me, honestly, a lot of it comes from Wario64 on Twitter. Is like he'll post a bunch of stuff and be like, "Hey, this game's $10. Hey, this game's on sale for $7." I'm like, "Oh, all right, I'll pick up this game for like $7."
I haven't been on Twitter in forever, but Cheap A Gamer, Cheap A for your butt, you know, kind of thing. They were really good about posting physical and digital sales as well.
I follow both of them. I think Cheap A Gamer's also on Blue Sky, but I don't want to say. I don't think Wario is over there yet, but don't quote me on that. So I'm assuming people are probably posting in multiple places here as time goes on. So if you have anything that you really works for you tracking, dear listeners out there, please let us know. Because there's probably a cool website where it's like, yeah, man, why aren't you using this? It's perfect. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. It is perfect.
Because I mean, like, PS Prices does a pretty good job with digital. Because like Boston and I were discovering in Discord, it also tracks Game Pass and PlayStation Plus games as well at the same time. So.
And over on PC, I use isthereanydeal.com. Like that, to me, like that's the perfect website for tracking. It tracks like 75 different stores, and you can set all your different stuff and all your different limits and lower and upper limits and all that stuff. But it only does PC stuff. But if they would ever extend to other platforms, that would be the only site I would use.
That's what I was thinking, because like PC Part Picker does that same thing where it's like you can track the pricing of a component for like the last 6 years to see. You know,
that's so good. Yeah, man. All right, thank you very much, Fedor, for sending in a question. Greatly appreciate it. That's our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to find and follow us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. I think Moon just froze.
No, he's there.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm here.
Oh, I'm a little. We've been recording a lot for these last 2 days, so my brain was just like, "That's the say the Patreon thing."
Oh, I was gonna say,
say the line, Bart.
Froze when you stopped talking. I'm like, crap, what just happened?
You can find and follow us on the right-hand side of tvgp.tv, including a link to the Patreon page, patreon.com/e1m1.
This time I did freeze.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm not. You've always been here. You get all the cool stuff we talked about at the beginning of the episode, and you can support us financially. $5 a month tier is a recommended one. That is per month. As we continue to add more stuff on there, it continues to stay at $5 a month. It's not per episode or per week or anything like that. Oh, we put out too much content over there. It's really great. It's a steal. Fun for a $5. All the TVGP titles. If you can't support us financially, totally understand and appreciate it. The best thing you can do is go to YouTube and like, comment, subscribe. That stuff genuinely does really help. Reminder that everything we put on the public feed, including Pup RPG Love, does have a video version up there. So Game Club, We Were Like It, this show, Pup, Critical Misses, kind of all of that stuff. Dynamic Soundtrack isn't on there because of the DMCA, and then we have some of the exclusive stuff over on the Patreon page. And then go rate and subscribe wherever you can. All that stuff really does help too. That's our episode for this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
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 All right, Nimp. What titles do you have?
All right. I only have a couple, which are We're All Not Fine Here. I'm a Freak with a Problem. I've been hearing rough things. And If You Have a Dream Pass.
I have to write down this. I've been hearing rough things. Moon, what else do you have?
Satiate Boston's Problem, Freak with a Problem, Mr. Actually, and JRPG Consequences.
I have social engagements with a question mark. We All Hate Ninjas, the Nightclub Kerfuffle, which is just it's like cellar door. It's one of those perfect sentences. I'm a freak with a problem, and I've been hearing rough things. I think all of us had I'm a freak with a problem, so that seems like a leader.
Yeah, but Nightclub Kerfuffle is also pretty solid.
I like the Nightclub Kerfuffle quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm fine with that one.
I'm cool with that.
All right. Circling it. Whoop. It's getting later, so this light is getting very bright here.
It's the problem with having multiple windows that don't have darkening features on them.
Yeah. Well, the sun's starting to set now. But you can see the difference if I turn the light off. Then I'm in shadows.
Do we really want to go down that rabbit hole?
I was saying, if I shut mine off, these two white screens will just emanate enough light.
Yep.
It was snowing earlier. I can't tell if it still is or isn't, so...
Oh, dang.
But alright. I am ready with something appropriate.
Nimp was telling us about last week of just, I've got a title, and then I started, and then...
Yeah, realizing that it was wholly not appropriate for this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, sometimes you just have a lot of fun. That's all.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 840 for November 22nd, 2023. The Nightclub Kerfuffle.
This is why you should always have a DD.
You can't tell me VIP room when it's a whole building.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. We will see you next week. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.